Okay, so this is a AS level video about phagocytosis and the immune response. So phagocytosis is a process that your body will undertake to stop you feeling ill. So when you feel ill, this process is happening in your body to stop you feeling ill. So let's say a bad bacteria has entered your body in some way. That's called the pathogen. These release chemicals called cytokines. Your body contains these cells called phagocytes, which are white blood cells, and they are attracted by these cytokines to the pathogen. So they will move towards the pathogen. When they're near to the pathogen, opsonins, or specific molecules on the pathogen surface, will bind to the cell surface receptors on the phagocyte. After this has happened, the phagocyte will actually extend its membrane and engulf the pathogen. So it will actually swallow the pathogen up. Once inside the phagocyte, the pathogen becomes what's called a phagosome. And this is when the pathogen is inside the phagocyte, and it's starting the breakdown. So the phagocyte will then start to break down the phagosome. The phagocyte will produce these little organelle called lysosomes. You've probably heard about them before. They are what break down cellular material. And they will secrete lytic enzymes, which will go to break down the phagosome. So, the next bit is, once the pathogen has been broken down in the phagocyte, the pathogen's antigen, so the specific shape of the pathogen, is expressed on the outer membrane of the phagocyte. So on the outside of the membrane it's expressed. We then move on to the immune response, which is how you become immune, basically. So once you've been infected with a disease, you will become immune to it. And this happens by these little cells called T helper cells will come along and recognise the antigen that's on the outside of the phagocyte. These T helper cells will then go on to stimulate B cells to form plasma cells and memory cells. These two cells are really, really important in the immune response because the plasma cells are the cells that actually produce antibodies, these little Y-shaped molecules called antibodies. You probably have heard of those. These antibodies have a specific binding site on the top of them there, and these binding sites will bind to more of the same pathogen with the complementary antigen. So they'll bind to more of the same pathogen and sort of stick them all together in a process called agglutination. So all the pathogens will stick together in agglutination, and this makes it a lot easier for the phagocyte to engulf more than one pathogen, which means that you will be able to destroy the pathogen a lot faster in your body, and you probably won't even feel ill. That's immunity. Then, just quickly, the memory cells. These memory cells will remain in the blood for many, many years, a lot longer than the plasma cells. So what they do is they actually remember the specific antigen of the pathogen, so that if you're infected with the same pathogen, these memory cells will stimulate plasma cells to produce antibodies in a much more rapid way and in a greater concentration, so that you're able to destroy the pathogen much faster and you won't even feel ill. So you'll still be infected, but these memory cells are what will help you to destroy the pathogen much quicker which is immunity.